Understanding self-efficacy. That's the second part of the constructivism, part 3. We have discussed the components of self-efficacy, but now we will show you a video in which you will see high self-efficacy and low self-efficacy with the help of examples.
Self-efficacy theory is a way to explain motivation. What drives some people to put forth a lot of effort and others to simply sit back and not even try? This is Cindy. Cindy has certain beliefs about her own ability to learn and complete goals. These beliefs are very specific to a particular situation in a particular context. For example, suppose Cindy has been asked to create a spreadsheet to track her company's expenses, but she has never created a spreadsheet before. Will she tackle this task with gusto, confident in her ability to learn the software? Or will she approach the task with great anxiety and ultimately fail? Based on a person's belief system, learners will perform in certain ways. A basic principle of self-efficacy is that the higher a person's self-efficacy is, the more they believe they are capable of accomplishing a task. The lower their self-efficacy, the less capable they think they will be. People are less likely to attempt something with their full effort if their self-efficacy is lower for that task, because people tend to only try things that they believe they will be successful in. Self-efficacy is influenced by several factors. The first factor is a person's performance accomplishments. This is also referred to as personal mastery experiences. Performance accomplishments means how successful you have been with a task in the past. When encountering a challenge, a person assesses how they have done with a similar task. Suppose Cindy was asked to learn PowerPoint recently. If she worked hard on this task and was successful, then her self-efficacy for learning new computer programs is high, and she is more likely to put forth a strong effort again because she believes that she has the aptitude to learn Excel as well. If Cindy struggled with the PowerPoint and felt she was unable to master the program, then her self-efficacy for this type of task is very low, and she is less likely to persevere and work hard on learning Excel because she has already decided that she's incapable of learning it. Ironically, her attitude towards her own learning can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. She assumes she cannot do well, and then her lack of effort results in a poor result, reinforcing her belief that she cannot succeed in this type of task. On the other hand, if Cindy perceived learning PowerPoint as too difficult, but still put forth high effort and achieved success, then her self-efficacy will increase in this area, and she will be more likely to attack learning Excel with a high level of effort and focus. The second factor is vicarious experiences, which is when the learner observes other people's experiences with the task. They are more impacted if the person they observe is someone they perceive as more similar to themselves, such as a peer. For example, if Cindy has observed a coworker successfully navigating Excel, she is more likely to have a higher self-efficacy in regards to this task. Similarly, if Cindy saw her coworker struggling and failing at the task, Cindy's own self-efficacy will be lower because she is judging her own abilities based on what she observes is happening with her peer. Overall, vicarious experience is considered to be less powerful than performance accomplishments. The third factor is verbal persuasion, which is the impact that others' expectations can have on the learner. These expectations must be expressed verbally and generally take the form of a pep talk. If our learner is told, "I know you can do this," and perhaps given some helpful tips, their self-efficacy goes up. Coaching would be an example of verbal persuasion. People are led through suggestion into believing that they can cope successfully with what has overwhelmed them in the past. The effectiveness of verbal persuasion depends on how credible the learner feels the person encouraging them is. Additionally, verbal persuasion can also be negative, telling the learner they are incapable of the task, which will cause doubt in the learner and lower their self-efficacy. The fourth factor is physiological states, which is the emotional arousal a learner experiences and how they identify that arousal. Suppose Cindy has butterflies in her stomach, physical sensation of arousal and discomfort. People rely partly on their state of physiological arousal to judge their anxiety and their vulnerability to stress. Because high arousal usually debilitates performance, individuals are more likely to expect failure if they are tense and agitated. So when Cindy has these sensations of butterflies in her stomach, how she interprets them is important. She might label these feelings as anxiety, which she might associate with failure, thus her self-efficacy would decrease. But she might also label these feelings as excitement or anticipation, which she might associate with achievement. In that case, her self-efficacy would increase. Overall, a person's self-efficacy impacts the level of goal challenge they set for themselves, the amount of effort they put forth, and their persistence in the face of difficulties. People with low self-efficacy shy away from difficult tasks, which they perceive as personal threats. They have low aspirations and weak commitment to the goals they choose to pursue. In contrast, those with high self-efficacy approach difficult tasks as challenges to be mastered rather than as threats to be avoided. They set themselves challenging goals and maintain strong commitment to them. Self-efficacy has relevance to many areas of research, but it is especially relevant in the area of educational research. Since higher self-efficacy is associated with greater persistence, effort, and intrinsic interest in academic learning and performance, educators have sought to discover how best to increase students' self-efficacy. Researchers have found that students' beliefs about their own abilities to learn determine their aspirations, level of motivation, and academic accomplishments. Teachers' beliefs in their own ability to teach also affects how successful their students will be. Similarly, impacting faculty's beliefs about their collective efficacy influences school-level achievement. Researchers have also found that parents positively impact a child's self-efficacy when they provide an environment that stimulates youngsters' curiosity and allows for mastery experiences. Peers also impact self-efficacy because students and networks tend to be similar to one another, which enhances the likelihood of influence by modeling. Self-efficacy is sometimes confused with other terms, such as self-esteem or self-concept. The difference is that those terms deal with the general feelings about topics, and self-efficacy is about an attitude towards a specific task in a particular context. The key word is specific. A person's self-concept might be, I'm pretty good at math, but a person's self-efficacy is about their belief in their ability for a specific task. For example, I can totally figure out this math worksheet. And that is self-efficacy in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.
So you see that all the 4 components, which are personal outcome, vicarious experiences, verbal persuasion, and physiological feedback, they carry high self-efficacy and low self-efficacy, and the examples in terms of developing or enhancing high self-efficacy. Self-esteem and self-efficacy are also considered to be one and the same thing. Self-esteem is basically a more general term where it's the overall understanding of one's worth or one's capabilities. But when we are talking about self-efficacy, it is about one's capabilities to carry out a specific task. So keyword here is how a specific task is accomplished, having one's own beliefs and ideas, strengths and capabilities to carry that out. So to conclude, Bandura's self-efficacy theory promotes understanding of one's capabilities and the factors responsible for that. High self-efficacy motivates learners to undertake a specific task, whereas low efficacy demotivates learner. Parents, peers, in fact, the overall environment can play a positive role in enhancing high self-efficacy.